To this
I think I failed to really house
this program here,
enough about what's in those
and
because we're focusing on advertising right now, which is
the host is being very good, but the participant
but I was just looking back
is sitting here.
Cookies can basically
the words. Something.
as detailed as their creators want. So it's not just like what are you interested in buying. It can even include things like medical history, right?
Fascinating point. There's so this is an interesting part of the industry.
She sounds like a 12-year-old.
Based on what cookies do is they kind of create. It's mostly a record of your browsing, right? But sometimes your browsing can give away valuable information about what your medical conditions are, right? In terms of what sites you visited and what products you've looked at. So these cookies, in terms of collecting that data, like some players in the industry use that to infer what kind of conditions you might have, right? And they can use that to market pharmaceuticals and other products too.
Okay, so Patience Hagen of the Wall Street Journal and Alan Chappelle from Chicago Associates stand by for just a moment. We'll talk more about why Google's rollout of blocking third-party cookies from the Chrome browser matters to the advertising industry and to you in just a moment. This is On Point.
28 minutes. 45's been the record so far. Or no, it was 49. I think he fell asleep.
Support comes from Colorado Visiting Nurse Association, a community-based nonprofit providing home health, hospice, wellness, and capable services for Colorado's Front Range. More at vnacolorado.org.
Support comes from DCPA Off Center, presenting Space Explorers The Infinite, a new immersive experience inspired by NASA missions and the International Space Station. Now at Stanley Marketplace, tickets at denvercenter.org.
Love is in the air, and in an ever-changing social landscape, how do you find love or don't is evolving. Not everybody is partnering. This week on Real Talk with Denver 7 and CPR News, we're talking love, the ups, downs, and twists of modern dating for Gen Z, Boomers, and everyone in between. This evening at 6:30 on CPR News and KMCC.
There's an alarming spike in measles in Europe, a 3,000% increase over the previous year. It's due to falling vaccination rates. It's a warning sign about how easily a measles outbreak would spread in this country.
I have thrown this dice for about a year and a half. It's been sitting up here, and I roll it. And I don't roll it for a while. I roll it, it goes Q, then it goes to H. It's been doing Q, A, Q, H, Q, I, or whatever, but most of the time it's just Q, H, U. Kind of weird. I grew up with Q. I had Q about the first. I went to fallout shelter when I was 5. Because the doctor there that killed me. Dr. Kinch. Kinch.
You're back with On Point. I'm Magna Chakrabarty, and today we're joined by Patience Hagen. She's a reporter for the Wall Street Journal covering digital advertising and broadband, and by Alan Chappelle, who's president of Chappelle & Associates, a law firm.
Kinch Hitler.
Digital privacy. And
So he was Adolf's
to
cousin.
phase out third-party cookies on its Chrome browser.
One of our
So that would apply
scientists.
to mobile browsing via Android.
He
How that decision could have an impact not only on data privacy, but on
He didn't tell
Google's
anybody his last name.
emerging online advertising monopoly.
He told me because he knew I really wouldn't care.
So how do
about
other advertisers feel about this change
So,
as it's rolling
Kinch
out?
was my doctor.
Well, Todd Parsons is chief
Then he
product
sent me to a
officer
guy in
at advertising technology
California
firm
up on a hill someplace.
Well, we've been preparing for this
I forget the name of the
for
place.
several years, and we feel confident that a total rollout is something that we can help our partners through. And because of our relationship with Google, we can work with them very closely to help
Well,
them
it was
adapt
kinda-
the APIs to be successful.
Now, we've mentioned earlier that Apple Safari and Mozilla's
Yeah, sure.
Firefox had already killed off
Still
third-party
too cool.
cookies quite some time
It's
ago.
kind of weird the way it
But some
happened.
of the pushback now comes because
I thought Dad was gonna
Google
bury
Chrome,
me.
as we also mentioned, has a
What are we
much
doing down here?
bigger
That's really scary.
stronghold on overall
Yeah,
web
one guy
traffic,
sitting with me in the back
and
seat.
Google generates
Not saying a word.
substantial revenue
Another guy
from
and Dad
advertising, hundreds of billions
in
of
the front.
dollars, in fact. But Parsons says that collaborative relationships, or that
He said, "There's a
collaborative
doctor over here
relationship
that
is
can help
another
you."
difference that's actually been positive.
Yeah,
Back
they fixed
when
me.
Apple phased out third-party cookie support in the Safari
That
browser,
was a weird time
it
in my
was
life, too.
something that was more or less announced and followed through
was
on,
like
and that
a,
left advertising tech companies in
Area
a bit of a
51 deal.
lurch to find new ways to
Colorado
address
Springs was the same
consumers,
thing,
right
but it
place,
wasn't as
right
bad
time,
as
right message.
San Diego
But
was.
what's different today is
San Diego was a
it's
threat.
actually more of a partnership with Google to balance between the promise of privacy
Strange
preserving
life.
replacement to third-party cookie with the
I'm tired.
utility that
Can't wait to go
advertisers
home and go to
ultimately
bed.
want to deliver through it.
I haven't eaten
But
anything yet
Parsons
today.
acknowledges that Criteo is in a unique position
Some of
as
that
one of
cheese.
the biggest names in advertising technology, and not every ad tech company had the opportunity to test out Google's privacy sandbox. That's what patients have
33
been talking
minutes.
about earlier. The lack of clear data
Yes,
could
damn it,
mean
Jim.
that those walled gardens of advertising can continue to grow.
I think what everybody is fearing here is that the ability of advertising to work at the same efficacy it did before on the open web will be compromised in such a way that only the platforms that are serving fully logged in consumers will actually be used more than the open web.
So what he's talking about there are platforms like Facebook, Instagram, even Google, where companies have clear data about their users from first-party cookies and user-volunteered information. Now, Google is currently testing Privacy Sandbox, its replacement for those third-party cookies, with 1% of Chrome users, but it's still a huge number of people. Parsons says
Come
it's
on,
too
Randy.
early to predict what the outcome will be once third-party cookies are fully